How to find a phone number with an email address. Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. And I have to start by being very clear, you probably can't. But I do want to give you a few straws to grasp at and a few things to be cautious of as you go down this path. To be clear, there is no master directory of email addresses and phone numbers. There's no one place you can go to, like maybe an old style phone book, where you can just look something up. Now, I also want to be clear that looking up somebody's phone number, if they don't want to be found, if they, maybe in the phone book sense, have what you might consider to be an unlisted number, well, there's a privacy issue there. You're digging through what we're about to talk about and coming up with a phone number may be in violation of their privacy. If they don't want to give you their phone number, then is it really ethical for you to find it anyway? I know, absolutely, there are scenarios where it's the right thing to do, but I definitely want to start this process by having you think through the implications and potentially think twice. Now, it's probably the case that the email service, the one that's providing the email address that you have, they probably know the phone number associated with that email address. But like I said, it's a matter of privacy. They're just not going to hand it out to you if you ask for it. So you need to basically look at a few other things where perhaps the phone number has been made public or accessible in some way, potentially even without that person's knowledge. The first thing that you might consider doing is searching, just literally a Google search or a DuckDuckGo search or something, for their email address. Unfortunately, email addresses are very difficult to search for. Even if you search for example, leo@askleo.com, in quotes, you would think you're asking the search engine to search for that specific string, which might turn up places where that email address has been referenced and maybe then a phone number associated with it. The problem is that most search engines still don't respect the quotes around an email address. So, for example, if you search for leo@askleo.com, what you end up searching for is Leo, Ask Leo, com, as if the punctuation weren't even there. Not very helpful. It's worth doing because sometimes it'll get you close, but it's not going to give you exactly what you're looking for. One of the ripest places to find information like this is social media, especially if the target you're looking for isn't particularly savvy, because it's not uncommon for people to make their information public without realizing it. So if you go to your favorite social media site, be it Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or any of the others, basically places where that kind of information is the stuff that they collect, search for that person and take a look at their profile. You could get lucky. And of course, the counter side of that is that, okay, if you have put your phone number or other private information on social media, make sure it is as private as you want it to be. Maybe you want it to be public, but my guess is most people don't. Relying on other people not understanding that they've made things public is probably the single best straw I have for you in terms of finding out their phone number based on their email address. Next on the list is public records. This is one of those things that varies dramatically based on where you are. And it's not just a country-to-country kind of a thing. In the United States, it's a state-to-state thing, and in many cases, it's even a county-to-county kind of a thing. The county that I'm in may have different rules, different systems, different information available about the residents than the county next to me. So the bottom line there is that get familiar with your county or your cities or your state's public information and see if the kinds of things you're looking for are accessible there. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to caution you about something, and that is simply this. When you actually try and search for somebody, by name especially, but also by email address, one of the things that will show up in the search results, either as paid placement, in other words, ads, or as organic results, are online directories and services that will claim to be able to give you information about the person you're looking for. They will often say that, hey, we found, 5 different people by this name at this location close to you or wherever it is you're looking for. Be wary, be very wary. I avoid these completely. The problem is, of course, that they don't give you the information that you're looking for unless you pay them. And even then, they may not have the information you're looking for, but it's too late. You've paid them. Unless you have specific experience with one of these services that you've used in the past, or you know somebody that has done something like this in the past, for example, you might ask an attorney or a private investigator local to you what services they use, then maybe that's the right thing to do. But by and large, my recommendation is don't go down that path unless you're absolutely certain you know the company that you're about to give some money to. Now, I do have to point out, as I say in a lot of different scenarios, law enforcement has access to this. You don't. However, if you're in a situation where you're doing this lookup because of illegal activity, right, harassment or threats or other kinds of things, the first thing you should do is contact law enforcement. Now, I have to be realistic. They may not be able to help. It may not be a big enough a priority for them because their resources are stretched, potentially looking at more serious things, or they may not have the technical expertise to do what's required here. But at a minimum, you want to get it on record and then take the steps that you want to take. Ultimately, my recommendation is that if it's on a personal level, you respect the other person's wishes. You respect their privacy as you would want others to respect yours. If it is a legal issue, then yes, step 1 is to involve the authorities. But again, I have to caution you, chances are you will not be able to get a phone number from an email address. For comments, for updates, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/166374. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.